This is a standard pound dribble. Make sure you stand on the back two dots. You're gonna pound. You're gonna stay wide and pound the dribble on the front dot. Do 30 each hand here. This is gonna be a pocket dribble. You're gonna make sure that, or it's gonna be super important for every other move we do. This is not a carry. We're just working on manipulating the ball. Make sure you're not rotating your hips. You're just bringing your elbow back, keeping your hand on the side of the ball. Do not bring your hand under the ball. Now we're doing a pocket through, which is you're just going to do a pocket dribble and then you're going to go between your legs, working on manipulating the ball. This is still not a carry. Keep your hand on the side of the ball. Keep your feet planted on the back two dots. This is going to be our drop. This is the most important footwork in basketball. Out of this drop, you can go right, you can go left, you can pull up and shoot, you can pass. It's going to be everything we do after this is going to incorporate the drop. Make sure you're sinking your hips a little bit and hitting the dot. As we drop and get into our split, you're going to get into a pocket dribble. One other thing to mention is don't be afraid to look down and make sure you're hitting the dots. I know we teach you to dribble with your eyes up, but right now the footwork is more important, and you will all become masters at dribbling, and you'll be able to look up later on. So don't be afraid to look down at your feet. Make sure you're hitting those dots. This is the drop and go. You're going to get into your drop that we just worked on, and you are going to explode out of it for 2 steps. You're either going to gather the ball or you can snatch it back however you want. Make sure to change directions and speeds.
Now we're going into our drop and crossover. So we're going to go into our regular drop, and then we're going to bring that 1 foot back up to the front on that crossover. Make sure you're crossing over right in front of the board. You don't want to bring it out too far, otherwise the defender could pick it.
We're going to move into a drop through, which instead of doing a crossover, you're going to go between the legs. However, I want to emphasize that we're not splitting our feet into a between the legs. You're just moving your foot forward. And if you can, both of your feet should be pretty close to the front two X's on the drop through.
Now, similar to our drop through, we're going to add a little bit of a hesitation into the mix with a toe tap. So in the drop through, we were simultaneously putting the ball through our legs while we were bringing our foot up to the front. Now we're going to add a half-second hesitation by tapping our toe to that front X and then bringing the ball through. So this is going to give us a little bit of a hesitation to throw the defender off.
This is the drop pullback. On this one, you're just going to get into your drop, and you're going to bring both your foot and the ball back into a shooting motion. You do not need to bring your other foot back to the back X. You're just going to bring the ball and your foot into a comfortable shooting position.
Now, opposite to the drop pullback, we're going to incorporate a step up. So when you drop and you see your defender step back just a little bit, give you a little bit of space, now we want to bring that back leg on the drop up into your shot. And so you're going to bring it back into the middle, shoulders width apart, drop, bring it in, and go into a shot motion.
We're going to get into the inverted drop into a push cross. So with the inverted drop, when you're dribbling with your right hand, instead of that foot being forward, it's going to be back, and your left foot is going to be on the upper left dot. You're going to get into this inverted drop. You're going to pocket the ball, and you're going to keep it tight to your body and push it close to your body all the way to the other side.
Now we're going to start working on our splits. A split is essentially a drop. The only difference is now you're changing hands. So in this case, we're doing it between the legs. So when we go between the legs, we're splitting our feet similar to a drop. Back foot is in the back right corner. If we're going left, and then my left foot is in the top left corner between the legs and go. Same thing as we've been talking about here. Don't be afraid to look down. Make sure your feet are hitting the dots. Hold yourself accountable. We want to make sure we perfect the footwork.
This is going to be a split behind. It's similar to the split through, but this time we're setting ourselves up to go behind the back. As you wrap the ball behind your back, your feet need to be positioned into your drop position already. This is kind of tough, but with practice, you'll be great.
So now we're going to get to a foot replacement. And so the difference between a foot replacement and a pullback, which we did earlier, is a pullback, you're bringing your leg back in underneath your shoulders. Here, once we split and go between our legs, we're firing our feet right underneath our shoulders. So basically, once we split, we're preparing to get into a shot. And so by bringing both feet right underneath your shoulders, that's going to be the quickest way to get into a shot motion.